here's my next project. We're gonna put in a lithium upgrade. This is a 2002, I think, club car. Took the seat off just for the video. But yeah, here's what it looks like. Here's how I got it. Typical cart. Show the roof. The nice thing about this lithium upgrade is the maintenance free part. So if you look at these batteries, this owner will really appreciate the maintenance free part of the lithium battery. The next biggest thing is the longevity, how they last so much longer. But yeah, so we'll start diving into this. I'll show you the wiring bit by bit, all the steps. So first thing we're going to do is take these batteries out, give it a power wash inside, and then we'll pull her into the garage and start going through the schematic. I noticed for this cart I found like 3 different schematics, so I'm going to go through and trace out the wires and see which schematic is actually for this one before I plan the attack. I'm going to add some switches up here, a light in the front, some lights, some underground lights, underglow. So yeah, that's the project. So I'll show you bit by bit as I hit. Before I start taking these apart, a couple of quick notes. This was connected, but just put some tape around the wires that are connected, so when you take it apart, when you're tracing it back, you know exactly where this wire went and not just some random wire and you're like, oh shoot, where was it connected? That'll help you. Also, for just general maintenance on lead acid, a little bit of baking soda and water to put on your terminals will actually help keep it from getting this way if you're doing maintenance. Obviously the whole point of this is to go to lithium, so we don't have to worry about that anymore, but I did have lead acid for a while and it was a great way. I got some here. Because there's a couple of terminals that I need to, ideally want to get the wire off of cleanly, because I want to reuse it if possible. The other ones, I'm just going to cut the wires, no big deal. But so let's try some baking soda on here and see what happens. It might be so bad that it doesn't do anything, I don't know. You can hear it sizzling away, but there's just so much. It's eating at it, but at such a slow amount. So I'm going to chip it off and then maybe use baking soda for the last little bit. But ideally, basically, my main positive and then over there, my main negative are the 2 that I want to try save. But if not, then it is what it is. Okay, I got the batteries out. Before I give it a power wash, I wanted to show everyone something, just in the sense of the different years. This is a 2002 club car, DS, and it has the metal plates underneath the batteries. I have my own one is a 91 resistor cart. I have the video up if I switched it to lithium, but it has the frame for the batteries, but it does not have a plate underneath. So that's pretty nice. It sounds thick enough that I should be able to bolt things to it as well too, and it'll be sturdy. Oh, not connected. Just sitting there. Okay. Yeah, so I should be able to use that though when doing this. Perfect. Just wanted to show you guys the difference between mine, a 91, and okay, when putting in this battery, the first thing I like to do is after I unbox it, check the battery, make sure it works so you know whether you have to return it or not if you have any issues before you do anything else. So take your display, hook it up, turn your battery on, and come over here to the display and take a look. We turn that on. So we're at 47%, everything looks fine. Yeah, one cycle. Yeah, there's your individual cells, everything looks okay. So it looks okay. So now you can proceed. The next step is it came in, it wasn't working, but it did work before, so they assume it was just the batteries. I'm going to set this in it and just hook up the wires, the positive negative, just to make it go forward and backwards a foot, just to confirm that the cart is working before I actually start rewiring everything and permanently putting this in. So, but we know the battery's good. Okay, what I did do is I took the battery, I just set it here, hooked up the old positive and negatives and the accessories that were on it, so what you had before, hooked it up and just tried it in forward reverse real quick, and it works. So that tells me that the motor, the controller, everything's good. So now I'll dive into switching it over to the lithium battery and doing it for real, because now I know everything does work. It's just a matter of switching it over. So here is, now I got room in behind here. You can see there's the wire. Where is it? Right there. That's where the CT is from the old onboard computer. So it does the charging. So we're going to be removing that. We don't need that because there's a BMS installed internally with the new lithium battery. It will handle the charging and deciding when to and not. So this is going to be removed. And behind here, that's your controller. So we need to get all that out. And I see the wiring going for it. So that's good. It's all one tube worth of. It's not coming from different sides. So I'm probably going to have to relocate that over to this side, because the battery itself is going to go this way and it's long enough to hit that. So I need to make some space. It won't go as far by measuring it to the motor, so we're okay. The only thing in the way is that back part. So I'm going to take that off. Check out the wiring, because for this cart, the 2002, looking online, I found 3 different schematics. So I want to see all the wiring and confirm which schematic is the right one for this cart. So don't just the first one you find assume it's right. Double check. And then from that I can now then decide what needs to be changed and what not. So, because we got to change a couple of things here. So that'll be the next thing. Is let's remove this and see what's behind there. So we can just simply one bolt here and one on the other side, and we'll see that. Okay, an update. I got the bolts out on either side, and it's still rock solid at the top. I look and feel, and there is 2 bolts going downward holding the top of that bracket. So in order to get it at it, oh, for fuck's sakes, it looks like I got to take for sure, the bin off the back, remove that piece of plastic that gives you access from behind, and then from there, hopefully between here and the top of that, I can get a wrench in there, an open end, and undo that. If not, jeez, this whole body's coming off, so I can access that. They can't have designed it so that you have to remove the body panel just to get at that. Oh man. Well, we're going to take this off, it looks. I have to. And hopefully we're going to get access from the rear, and hopefully we can get access to our OBC and our controller. So let's see. Okay, I'm doing a rethink here. To get that bottom plate off, Those two screws up top, I got access to them kinda. But, so I got the back off. And then the cover there had a screw, so I got that off, and there you go, you're inside. Looking at what all has to move, everything is doable, but it just makes me wonder, is there any way I can somehow mount this bastard this way while leaving that plate in there? I measured, and if you go up pretty close to the end on this side, it should fit with like 2 inches to spare, 1.5 inches. Enough room for the terminations on the front of the battery. And it'll go below your run tow switch. By the way, always put it in tow before you start any of this. Maybe a little too late, but that's okay. Mine was, but too late for helping. I'm going to see if maybe I can set it in there and get a bracket or something that can get it. If it goes right to that last bracket, it's too close. It'll be up against this wall. I don't think there's room for the connections. So if I can bring it back like 1 inch, 1.5 inches, maybe mount some angle iron in there to stop it from moving forward, come back, and then it resting on this support might be a good spot to put a up, over, and down like your lead acids have, something to hold it that way. I think that might work. That might be my new plan of attack here. Sometimes you got to call an audible with what you see, and I got to do a little more work. I think that might work. So let's see. Okay, while I want to decide where the battery goes, I need to make sure I have the actual room that I will have in the end. So the charging port, the original one, sticks out more than the 120 volt bypass that I'm going to be putting in there. So I got to remove this. So what I did was, there's 4 screws in the front, 4 Phillips. They come out pretty easy. In the back, unplug your fuse on the gray wire. That'll make it so it comes out. The red should be hanging because the red wire went to your main positive. And then you have the jumper, no big deal. On the other side of your fuse, you have a black wire. So that comes from this harness here. So that's where your black and your gray was. So that's the black that I had to take off the back of where the fuse was on the charger connector. Sorry about that. Charger connector. Now, we'll see later on, this is all garbage. It's not going to get used. It goes back to the OBC and it's not needed. So this whole thing can get ripped out, or if we were leaving it in, just tied back and coiled out of the way, whichever your preference, but it's not needed. So, but either way, I wanted to get that one out. I can put the 120 volt one in to see how that battery is going to fit. Okay, here we are at the bench. Made the cut and have that so we can take it off. Typical 3 rocker switch. I'm not going to show you how to install it. That's pretty, you can figure that out. Cut a hole, screw it in. But that's what I'm doing with it. So now, what I'm going to do is, the way it comes wired, I'll show you here. What my plan is I bought a fuse block. So I'm going to be running each circuit off of a fuse. The problem I have is the way it comes, it's pre-wired, where you have one circuit in, all your negatives are up top, that's fine, but it puts everything, all your positives, on one circuit. So this is what they have, where it comes in and it hits all of it. So anything you have coming off your switches will all be on that one circuit. I want to separate them. I want to have one for headlights, one for underglow lights, and then I'm going to have one as a spare. So How the switch works, first off, is your top is your negatives. You have this bottom one right here is your power for the light on the rocker, this bottom light that stays illuminated. This top one will illuminate when power for that switch is connected, but this bottom one stays on all the time. So that's this one right here. So that one, it doesn't matter where it gets power from, in such a small draw, it just needs to get power. Now on this side, you have your top and bottom here. This is your positive in, and then this is your switch activating right here, and here is your positive out towards your load. So they have everything wired up on positive on one circuit other than your outs. So if you want everything on one circuit, don't touch a thing. But what I want is I am going to run, I hope you can see that, I am going to run it all of the top as the negatives. I want each positive to have its own circuit. So coming off the fuse block, I am going to come up, go through that switch, and then come down to my load, to my light, and then back down to my negative. So if you left it like this, all you would have to do is run one wire out to your light, let's say as an example, and then one wire from your light back to your negative. But because I want a separate power source coming in, I'm going to have two wires. So a little bit more work, but now you have the ability to fuse each circuit, each switch. So I'm going to do that and then leave the last one as a spare. So I'm going to run another circuit up that's going to actually hit my negatives. Because I don't know what I'm going to use this in the future for, I'm going to leave that where it has both and then hit just the rocker lights. So this one's going to feed the rocker lights, so they're going to be on. And then these will do my lights individually. So what we need to do, you just give some light wiggle. I'll show you here. So I'm going to start at the end. So what I want to do now is switch it to this. So all I'm doing is hitting my positive on my rocker light. Now I want to hit the next rocker light. And then for the spare, because I don't know what I'm going to use it for yet, I'm going to hit the positive in on the switch and the rocker light. There we go. So now I have my switchable power right here and right here, but yet the rocker lights all have power coming in from this. So now I've got extra here. So what I'm going to do is snip it right here, and then I can just put a butt splice on a longer piece of wire for this wire right here. Negative, don't have to do anything. I can just butt splice onto that one. So I'm going to cut that one right there, and that will be what I'm using my positive for from this circuit. Hope that makes sense. So we'll get all that wired up and see how that goes. Okay, now I want to show you the actual wiring that we're going to do, the changes for this lithium upgrade. Here is the schematic for a 2002 club car that I have. So this whole fuse the area where your charging port was, is removed. So with that, all this is being removed. This wiring harness pulled back, and I'm leaving the onboard computer in, even though we're not going to need it, because this black wire that goes through the hole, which is a CT, a current transformer, that's how the computer reads the amperage that's going through this wire. This wire goes through it and connects to your main terminal black, your negative. So rather than replace that, and the computer works fine, I'm going to leave it. So I'm going to leave it installed and leave that in. but we removed this, the whole charging area, because a new charger is going to come in with just a black and a positive connection. So we don't need this anymore. We don't need the onboard computer to actually decide when to charge or what's going on. We don't need to update it because we're not using it anymore. So we're disconnecting this. This wiring harness is getting pulled back and coiled behind it. This red wire that comes over is just being deleted altogether because we don't need it, because we're going to have a new red wire coming in off of our charger. So now that handles the power of it. But when it comes to the control, if you look down here, this solenoid dictates whether you're allowed to charge or not, and it's connected to your tow run up here. So if we follow this back, so we need to bypass to make sure that this will run when we're this will allow the charging. It will also, we want the tow run switch to be enabled because it's going through our onboard computer right now, and we need to jumper in order to make it so that the solenoid disconnects when we turn it to tow, and to energize this solenoid to connect this red and yellow, our main positive coming in, when we hit the run switch. So we need to keep that intact to protect the controller. So if we look at this, down here is where this blue wire is what's signaling when we should energize this solenoid. Sorry, my words aren't working well today. So this blue wire comes up. Where does it get its power from? Excuse me. Comes up to here, connects, comes down the blue, and goes down into, here's your 4 and 2, here's your 6-pin connector going into the onboard computer, the OBC. So this blue wire right here is what feeds power. See, it comes up and over to close this solenoid. So we need to give that power. Now if we give it constant power, we're gonna eliminate the need for a tow run switch. We don't want that. We want the tow run switch to stay active in this circuit. So as the blue comes down, how do we get that power? Well, we have a red, white here, a white. These ones don't count. So we have our white and red, white as options. Red, white, if you look at it, it comes over and attaches to here, which right there is attached to, on the top of our solenoid block, constant power. So we don't want that. If we jumper that blue wire to the red white, we will have constant power. You might as well just jumper out this solenoid and in turn makes your tow run switch useless. So we don't want that one. So if we look at the white one, our white comes up and is on the back side of our tow run switch. Our tow run switch, if you look at it, here's power incoming on this red white. It comes down and has constant power from the top of the solenoid block from our main red right here. So main power comes down, comes up, red, white, hits our tow run switch. On the back side of it, it comes down and it feeds our white. So this white wire right here has steady power controlled by the tow run switch. So the white wire is the one we want to use. So we want that tow run switch power to be jumpered over to our blue, which will then come up, connect to here, come down, and energize our solenoid. So by doing that, jumpering our white and blue, you should have power come in, come up to the tow run. When you click that, you should still now hear that solenoid lock in, because now you're giving power to this blue wire. Hope that makes sense. So when it comes to the power, this is disconnected. We're going to leave this in. The onboard computer still works, like it's not defective, and rather than take it out, I'm going to leave it there so that the cart still has it for future for any reason whatsoever. I'm just going to leave all this as it is. The red wire that comes off the top of your solenoid, it just reconnects. I replaced it because this was so corroded it was terrible. But either way, if yours is fine, your black and your red just stay back right where they are. In the back, what we're going to do is take this white and blue wire, and I'm going to cut it and jumper it right here on the back side of this connector, on the computer side of the connector. And then that will make that circuit true. So then this is now powered through your tow run, as it was before, only we're not using the computer to say, yes, it's okay to send power to here. We're going to jumper that. So there you go. Now let's go see what it looks like in real. So now in real life here, off our schematic, you can see this is that 6-pin connector. So we needed the blue and the white. There's your onboard computer. There's the wire going through the CT, your current transformer. We're going to use that to still connect like I showed on the schematic. We're going to leave that hooked up to the controller and reconnect it to battery negative, even though this will not have power. This is the wiring harness that had your gray and black. I just pulled it all back and coiled it up. It came from your charging port, but we don't need that anymore. But so what we do need to do is on the back side, I am going to take these two wires. I'm just going to cut it right here. And on this side, I'm just going to splice them together. So that way power comes in, comes around, and goes right back out, as per what we saw on the schematic. So you have to do that back here. Or that solenoid, which is down there, won't click in and out with your tow run switch. Okay. Okay, I did a quick splice here. So you can see I spliced the white and the blue on the back side of the connector. And that should be all that we need to do back here. I left the rest intact. I didn't deadhead the ones I cut, the white and blue, but there's no power coming to them. I've removed that because that was the in and the out on the computer, so they'll both be dead. So no point in protecting it. Not a crucial thing. But now, if for whatever reason in the future, if need be, it could be reconnected. After doing a lithium upgrade, I can't see ever going backwards, but at least the customer has the option. Okay, and that should. So we got it all hooked up. I think I showed you the jumper I put in. So as you can see, here's that jumper. Oh, maybe I didn't show you, but there's the. I just cut the two wires and put them together. Other than coiling back the black and gray cable, that's all I did back here. Okay, down here, so there's the charger screwed into the plate, our voltage reducer, and here's my fuse block that I bought. That, as I showed before, I'm coming off the switches, coming out of here, going up to the switch, and then coming back, I'm picking up the devices. So there's my switch 1, switch 2, and switch 3, the spare. That also does the lights on the all three switches, like I showed earlier. Pretty slick system. Lots of extra cabling. It's meant to go a country mile, but a little bit of management and life goes on. Rather that than be shipped short, I guess. But yeah, so in the end I got 3 cables on each one. I got the positive and negative that we did have. I got a positive and negative for the voltage reducer, and a positive negative for the charger. So, and on the other side, room for a cooler. So let's turn it on and see how it goes. Okay, heard the click. No, I kept the smoke in, so that's a good thing. Okay. Dash lights are on. Yeah, our LCD is good. We'll try this. Oh yeah, that works. We'll try our underglow. Yeah, you can see it on the other side. That turned out nice. Okay. So that is it. I don't think I'm missing anything. Everything works. Oh, let's try forward and reverse. Let's do the big test. The important one. Run. Now that everything's hooked up, we're not making any changes. We can put it to run, switch it to off, obviously, if for any reason. Forward. Let's see. Oh yeah, it takes off. Just barely touched it. As soon as it makes contact, she wants to go. Reverse. Yeah. Squeak of the new tires they put on. There we go. So everything is working. If you have any questions about any of it, let me know. But all I gotta do is put the seat on, put the back on, and she's all done. Hope you enjoyed it. The usual, throw a subscribe, like, all that crap. Greatly appreciated if you do, and